up? What's up? What's up? What's up, Facebook, Instagram? We're going live. I told y'all I was coming back. Let me see. Are we live? I think so. Let's see. Let's see. Let's see. Yo, what's up, y'all? Yo, I want to jump on and I want to take a minute to just talk a little bit. So yesterday I was on, and yesterday I said I wanted to share a word today. So I'm gonna give y'all a second to get yourselves together and to come on. I'm just trying to set up my stuff right here. There we go. So I want to bring a word, not a preaching word, man. I want to I want to bring a short word to you. If you got the word, we gonna go to let me go live. Let me go live on IG. If you got the word, we're gonna go live here. Give y'all a sec to come on. What's up? What's up, IG? Give y'all a second to come on. Listen, we about to get in the word. I just want to share a brief word with my people. Yesterday I was on, and I talked about how I was gonna come on today, and so I want to keep that promise, and I want to come on today. Because I want y'all to catch this word. Yo, we're gonna go to a word. So as many of you all know, in the next week I'm doing this clarity challenge. The link is in my bio. If you're watching on IG, it is myclaritychallenge.com, and the whole purpose for the challenge is to help individuals who are trying to develop like their personal mission, who they are, understand their gifts, their story, their abilities, and then to bring it all together, to tie it all together. So if that's you, if you are in that space where you're like, you know what, I might know what I'm doing, I might know my career, but I really want to understand my personal mission, then I want you to go to My Clarity Challenge, and I want you to sign up for this Clarity Challenge. Because it's going to add a lot of value to you. It's only a 3-day challenge next week, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. In the evenings, we're going to hit it hard just like this, but it's going to be on Zoom. I want you to jump in. At the end of the challenge, you will have a mission for yourself, for your life. You're going to have established a 3-year plan as far as what are your 3-year goals, what's your 1-year goal, what's your 90-day goals, what are you working on this week, this month that'll move you closer to your goals. So if that interests you, if that's something that you feel would add some value to you, no, let me say it like this. If you don't have that already, then you sure enough need this. And so I want you to jump over to My Clarity Challenge, and I want you to check it out, because it's going to add, I just know it's going to add a ton of value. It's going to add a ton of value to you. myclaritychallenge.com. Now, in this moment right now, I just want to share a brief word with you, right? If you're watching on IG, you're watching on YouTube, Facebook, Twitter, LinkedIn, we're hitting all platforms right now. I just want to share a brief word coming from Luke chapter 19. I said yesterday when I was on that I was going to share a word today. So Luke chapter 19, you don't got to turn there. I'm just going to read a brief passage. Basically, context, there was a man who had 10 servants. The man was about to bounce and go out of town. He called his 10 servants to him, and the Bible says that he divided among his 10 servants 10 pounds of silver. The assumption is that each one of the servants got the exact same amount. Luke chapter 19. Each one of the servants got the exact same amount. So the man goes out of town, and when he comes back, he's like, yo, let me talk to my servants. What did you guys do? Give me a report of your work. Show me the what you did with the talents. And so the servants start coming to him one by one, kind of showing him what they've done with the talents, the pounds of silver that he gave him. We're in Luke chapter 19. And in Luke chapter 19, he says the first servant reported I invested your money and I made 10 times the original amount. So if he got £1, like he made, 10 times that amount. And he's like, yo, the master, the king is like, yo, well done, good and faithful servant. Great job. I'm about to make you governor of 10 cities and reward you like tenfold. The next servant came and said, master, I invested your money and I made 5 times the amount. The king is still like, yo, well done. Like, you did a good job. I'm gonna like make you governor and ruler over, 5 times the amount of the five cities, right? He's like, over 5 cities, you're gonna be governor and ruler. And then something very interesting happens, right? The third servant brought back only the original amount of money and said, master, I hid your money and kept it safe. I was afraid because you are a hard man to deal with, taking what isn't yours and harvesting crops that you have not planted. And what's interesting to me is in that message, in that response, the king then says to him, you wicked servant. Like literally, like I would anticipate that the king would be like, you know what? You're right. I am a hard man. Like, I do expect a return. You probably had a rough childhood. You probably went through some drama in your marriage. You probably had some baggage. You know what? No worries. I'll give you another chance. But straight up, like, that was not the king's response at all. The king was like, you wicked servant. Like, straight facts. You wicked servant, he said. The king roared. And I'm reading from the New Living Translation. The text doesn't even say the king said, right? The text says, you wicked servant, the king roared. Like this, like the king is legit upset at this servant. He says, your own words condemn you. If you knew that I'm a hard man who takes what isn't mine and harvests crops I didn't plant, why didn't you deposit my money in the bank? At least I could have gotten some interest on it. Then turning to the others standing nearby, the king said, take the money from this servant and give it to the one who has 10 pounds. Now, this is a whole word in and of itself, and I don't got time. I told my wife I was gonna make her a smoothie as soon as I get done with this live, so I don't got a whole lot of time because she wants a smoothie. But I just felt like I wanted to jump on real quick and just share like the challenge that I have been facing with this text. Because what this text suggests is that if you take this parable and you apply it to us as Christians, as believers, what this text suggests is that Jesus is this king. He's gone into town, and what he has done is he has taken all of his people and he has distributed to all of his people a set of gifts, resources, energy, time. He's distributed to all of his people, like all of these things that he's expecting his people to then take and to do something with. Now, what's interesting is in this text, this particular passage doesn't say that he gave one person more than the other. It just says he gave to each one of them equally. Now, we know there's a passage in Matthew where there's a parable similar to this one, where one servant receives more than the other servant. But in this passage, it almost implies that all of us, you and me, all of us have been given the same amount. All of us have been given life. All of us have been given a brain. All of us have been given opportunity with that life. All of us have been given resources. Now, we might look and say, well, I came from a broken home, or my father wasn't in my life, or I didn't have this advantage. I wasn't born with a silver spoon. I was born into a racial community, to a racist community. I've experienced setbacks, and all of that might be true. But the fact of the matter is that God has still given all of us resources. He still has poured into us opportunity. He's given us gifts. He's given us skills. He's given us abilities. And this is the reality, is that God is looking for a return on his investment. Facts. Like, that is something that we cannot, no matter who you are or where you're from or what your background or upbringing might be, the reality is that God is saying, listen, you may have had a hard childhood. You might have had a rough go at life, but understand that there is still opportunity for you to rise to the occasion and to really allow your life to bear fruit. Like, that's what he's saying. Like, no matter Like the excuses that you and I use that will keep us in like where we are, God's like, those are not excuses to God. Those are not excuses. He's like, no, like if there is air in your lungs, right, then you have opportunity and you have the responsibility to give God a return on the investment. Now, what do you mean? What is that? What is that return talking about? This is the reality. For every person, the return is different, right? So for me, right, because listen, the king was not expecting each one of the servants to bring back the same amount, because one brought 10 and one brought 5 back. And for the one who brought 5 and the one who brought 10, he was like, yo, awesome, great. Even for the one who buried his talent, the king was like, you could have at least just invested it with the bank and gotten a little bit of interest. Like you could have just done a little something, I would have been satisfied with. But the fact that you did absolutely nothing with the time and the gift and the resources and the ability that you have, we got problems. Like that's what the king is saying. We got problems. And so on some level, I want you to know that like God is not holding you to the standard of someone else. You might look at someone on IG, someone on social media, someone in your community like, oh man, I can never do that. Well, guess the good news is God's not expecting you to do that. The good news is that God's just expecting you to do something. He's just expecting you to do something, right? And that something is not going to be compared to what the next person does or what the next person doesn't do. None of us can stop and say, well, at least I did better than him, or man, my life is nothing because I can't do as good as him. Like none of that really matters. The only thing that matters is that you actually took time to do something with the gifts and the ability and the time and the resources that God has poured into you. You have to do something. YouTube, Facebook, you got to do something. You just can't sit back, right? So what I want you to get is that when you look at your life, that in your life is untapped, most of our lives, all of our lives, is untapped potential and resources, right? Untapped potential and resources. And it's time for us to stop sitting on our gifts. It's time for us to stop just punching the clock and going through the routine and living in WandaVision, or whatever the name of that town was, right? Like, it's time for us just to stop going through the have kids, get married routine. It's time for us to start living lives on purpose. It's time for us to start living lives on purpose, deliberately investing in, deliberately building up our gifts, our talents, our resources, recognizing that, man, I might not have what the next person has, but I got something in my hand. I got something that I can use to add value to my family, to add value to my community, to add financial and monetary value back to me, to leave something for my kids. Like there's something in my hand that I can use. And what I want to do is I want to help you discover what that something is. If you don't know, if you are in that space where you're like, man, I'm not sure what my gifts are. I don't really think I'm good at anything. Like I look at myself compared to everybody else, and it just seems like I have nothing to offer and everybody else has everything to offer. Like if that's you, if that's the mindset that you have, then I want to, man, I beg of you to enter this challenge because there is so much potential. And God forbid that you sit on your potential all your days and nothing comes of the gifts and the time and the talent and the resources that God has deposited into you when you were birthed into this place. So, myclaritychallenge.com, My Clarity Challenge. Check out the link and sign up. We're going deep, 3-day challenge. I want to challenge you to get clarity. Facts. I want to challenge you to get clarity. That's what I want to do. I want to challenge you to get clarity. No, we don't want to go that bright. I want to challenge you to get clarity. If you don't have it, I want you to get it. Now, this is the other thing I want to say, and then I'm done because I really got to go make this smoothie. The other thing I want to say is, I think that what I would want from you to do, to at least consider, is I would really want you to start thinking about your life like a business, right? You may have heard this before. I want you to think about your life like a business, real talk. Not that you are a business, right? I know you are a human being, right? And that your life isn't consist of what you do, but I want you to think about your life and your day like a business. From the standpoint of when you go into a business, the business is very organized, it's structured. They're generally speaking, it should be, right? If your business isn't, holla at your boy, right? But your business should be organized, it should be structured. You should have like roles and responsibility. You know what your goals are for the month, for the quarter, for the year. You know what you're trying to do. You know how you're getting customers in the door and the service that you're providing them. You have some type of stop gap analysis that you've run. You have some measure to manage your finances. Like running a business requires intentionality. And what I would want you to do is I would want you to take that same level of intentionality and apply it to your life. I think the reason why this servant didn't invest, in addition to his own misconceptions of who the king was, right? And that he was afraid of this king, and so he buried his talent. I think this servant, he should have looked at his life like, you know what? Let me run my life. Let me manage these pounds of silver like a business. What can I do, as small as it might be, that will allow these pounds of silver to increase? And I think if you can do that, and if you can have that mindset, so what do I mean? Well, as a person, if I'm running my life like a business, as a person, the question is, well, what is my personal mission? Like what is my reason for being? Why am I here? What is the great cause that I am giving my life to? What problem do I solve? Does my birth solve? Like, I firmly believe that you being born wasn't just because your parents came together and did the do and now you're here, right? Obviously that played a major role. But beyond that, I firmly believe that you have divine design. I firmly believe that you have divine design, that you are not an accident. Even if your parents got together, it was a one-night stand, you are still not an accident. God designed for you to be here. And when you came through your mother's womb, the birth canal, and you bursted onto the scenes, literally, when you came out in that labor and delivery room, or maybe you were born in the backseat of a car, when you were born, real talk, you were born as a solution to a problem. Like, there is literally something that God wove into your DNA. There is a solution, there is a problem that He designed and has designed for you to solve. Now, big picture, we know that we fully embrace our highest self when we are in relationship to God, when we're an extension and an expression and a manifestation of His love to others, from God through us to others. Like, that is our highest self. But in addition to that, as I am living out my highest self, experiencing the grace and the love of God poured out through me to the world around me, as the love comes out of me, it is directed into a specific context, situation, circumstance that is in need of exactly what I am here to provide. I want y'all to catch this, right? And so I was interacting with some people online the other day, and one of the people said, listen, I really feel that God is calling me to minister and help and serve single mothers. Someone else said, I really feel like God is calling me, like my great call, God is calling me to do to provide financial literacy services. Like, someone else said, I really feel like God is calling me to help, like, impact and train and teach young people. I know someone, they said, I really feel like God is calling me to really just be support to senior citizens while they're in this senior age and they're in their senior years. Like, all of that is you recognizing that me being here is not an accident, right? All of that is you recognizing that your role here and your place here and your station here in life is intentionally designed to add value and to be a blessing to people in your community, in your circumstance, in your situation, like in your world. And so when you understand that, okay, I have divine design, there is a unique mission, a unique call upon my life, I want to fully understand what that call is, right? I want to fully understand what is Seth Yolorda's divine design. What is my mission? And then once I get clear on my mission, then I want to be able to say, okay, this is my mission. Now I clearly understand, because this is what I was created to do. This is my great contribution to the world. This is now how my mission is played out and the goal that I'm actually working towards, right? So here's the vision for my life, right? The 3-year, 5-year, these are the things that I'm working towards. The same way that we would expect an organization to have a vision. The same way that we would expect Chick-fil-A, some of our favorite fast food restaurants, right? The same way that we would expect Neiman Marcus or Macy's or some of the Nordstrom's or Nordstrom Rack, these stores that we patronize and we give our money to. The reason why we give our money to them and we receive their product is because somewhere the owner, the founder, the creator of it had an idea that I'm going to start something that's going to add value, that add a service to the community, and that's going to add monetary value to me. And I think we should think of our lives the same way. I want to live a life that is going to add value to the world, and that is going to provide for my family and my family's family financially. Like, that's what I want us to think. I'm adding value, and the value that I'm adding to the world, what I'm getting in return, it is providing financial stability and financial sustenance for my family. Like, that's what we're getting at. And so I want you to think about your life as a business. What is your mission? What are you here to do? What values do you live by? The same way a business or an organization has values, and those values establish the culture, right? What is the culture? What are your values? How do people interact with you? How do they feel about you? When they experience you, what do they experience? What are your values? What is the undergirding belief system that guides your life, right? You have to be clear on all of this. Otherwise, listen, you're just kind of floating through life. You're floating through life, right? Taking advantage of one situation when it comes to you, as they come to you, but not really living like facts, like not really living with intentionality, not really living with focus, not really living with clear purpose and destiny, recognizing that, man, my life here is short. Like I'm not going to be here forever. And so let me take advantage of the time I have. I mean, we pray that we get to like 70, 80, 90, right? 90, sheesh. We pray that we get to 80, but tomorrow ain't promised. Next week, next month, next year ain't promised. So if that is a reality, what do you want to accomplish with the time that you have left? Right? Because we're not immortal, not yet. When Christ comes, we will be, praise the Lord. But we're not immortal yet. We're not going to live forever yet. But what do you want to accomplish? What do you want your family to accomplish? What do you want your own personal endeavors, aside from your spouse, your friends, your family, aside, like personally, what's a personal goal that you want to accomplish in life? And how do you leverage all that you are to bring value and to bring impact and to bring transformation to the people around you, right? What really will be your legacy? I think it's so crazy, because when we think about like LeBron James, right? And when we think about Tom Brady, who just retired and then kind of unretired and then maybe retired again, like we don't know what he's doing. But the entire conversation surrounding LeBron James, Tom Brady, Steph Curry, right? The late Kobe Bryant, the entire conversation that surrounds them, maybe not Kobe, because obviously he's not in the league and he's passed away, rest in peace. But for the players that are still in the league and that are older, the entire conversation is about legacy, right? It's all about legacy. What will be Steph Curry's legacy? In fact, there's this debate going on right now on SportsCenter. Stephen A. Smith is like, Kevin Durant's legacy is going to be that, he's the one that left Steph Curry, and he left the great Steph Curry. It's crazy side note. Like, Stephen A. be on sometimes. But like, he's saying like his entire legacy is going to be about the decision he made to leave Steph Curry. All of this conversation around these great high performing athletes is always legacy. But you and I never have conversations about legacy. And maybe it's because we feel like we're not high performing. Like maybe because we feel like we're the average Joe and the average Joes don't really have legacy. But listen, I want to tell you, you have a legacy to lead. You have a legacy, something that you want to pass down, and you want to pass down more than just an insurance check. Like if you pass away, your kids get the insurance check, yeah? You want to have an insurance check too for your kids, but greater than the insurance check is you want to leave a legacy of change, of transformation to the next generation. So what I want you to do is I want you to start thinking about legacy. What is your legacy? What's going to be said about you? And not just that 90-minute funeral service when people, 5 people stand up and they each get 2 minutes to say something about you. I ain't talking about that. I mean, that's a part of it. That's a part of your legacy. But I'm talking about beyond that, right? Like, what's the legacy that you're going to leave so that, and people might not ever know your name, but they feel your impact, right? They feel the change that you made in their life and in their community as a result that you decided to live your life on purpose. You decided to live your life on purpose. So, my wife's waiting for her smoothie, so I gotta bounce. My Clarity Challenge. If you haven't signed up, we got a couple spots left. Sign up. My Clarity Challenge. We're gonna be talking about your legacy, helping you to script and to write down and to detail the legacy that you are going to leave. I mean, before I bounce, just tell me, do y'all know y'all legacy? Let me wait for some of y'all. Do y'all know y'all legacy? Like, if you know your legacy, drop it in the chat. Like, just say, put a fire emoji or hands up, thumbs up. If you've ever given any thought to your legacy, let me know. Put it in the chat. I want to know. Any thought? Any thought to your legacy? It's important, like vitally important. Vitally important that you think about. I want you to live your life like a business. Run your life like a business. Not that you are a business, you are a human being, right? And you animate according to the purposes and plans and grace and peace and love of God in your life, right? So you are not a business, you are not a transaction, you are a transformational change agent who is inspired and who is animated by the love of God flowing through you into this world. But I want you to run your life like a business. Jossie, I know you living on purpose, brother, right? I know you living on purpose, right? So I want you to run your life like, I want you to think about, what is my mission? Not my company's mission, not my job's mission, not my career, not the organization I work for, not their mission, but what is my personal mission? And what's crazy, I talked about this in our Clarity Conference. What's so crazy is that when you fully understand your mission, it clarifies what organizations you work for and don't work for. Because I don't want to work for an organization that does not align with my personal mission. Right? And so what is the mission? What is the thing that God has called you to step into that's bigger than your career, it's bigger than your job? And then once you have articulated that, just like a business, you're going to say, okay, what's my 3-year, 5-year goals? Like, where am I going? Yes, I don't know the future. And I mean, the Bible talks about Matthew 5, I think. The Bible talks about, give no thought for tomorrow. Tomorrow will take care of itself. So we're not going to worry about the future. Hear me. We're not going to worry about the future, but we definitely going to plan for the future, right? I don't think Jesus on the Sermon on the Mount is talking about, like, have no plans. Just wake up and just do whatever comes to you. Like, that's not what he's talking about, right? He's saying to us, like, don't worry about the future, right? Like, he's saying, if I take care of the birds of the air and the flowers of the field, like, if I take care of all of that, I'll also take care of you. So don't worry what you will eat or what you drink, but you should have a plan, right? but I'm not going to worry. So I understand my mission. I understand who I am, my values, the underlying beliefs that orient and that kind of serve as a guide for me as I'm walking through this thing called life. My personal values, what's important to me, how I interact with the world around me, how I interact with my family, right? We'll talk about that tomorrow. I'm gonna come back tomorrow. We're gonna talk about values, like how I interact with the world around me, how I interact with my family. But now I'm talking about, okay, what's my plan? Like, where do I see the hand of God moving me in my future? And while you might not be able to clearly articulate every detail about it, obviously, right? But what you can do is begin to at least point to what mountain you feel God is calling you to climb, right? So I don't know every detail of what it's gonna look like when I get to the top of the mountain, but I feel like this is the general area that God is calling me into, right? And so I'm going to start to move my life and make decisions that are going to be aligned with that direction, right? So if you haven't signed up, some of you all have signed up already, and I want to thank you guys who signed up already. Thank you guys who joined in the Clarity Conference. I really appreciate that. Thank you for all of those who shared it and who are continuing to share it on your social media platforms. If you haven't signed up, jump over to myclaritychallenge.com and sign up so you can get in the challenge. We're going 3 days, 15, 16, 17 in the evening, and we're gonna be diving deep, 2 hours each time, diving deep into understanding who we are, understanding where we feel God is calling us, how we live our lives more intentionally, more purposefully. It's not gonna be sermons. I'm not gonna be preaching, right? This is gonna be straight work. Like, you're gonna be working and you're gonna have some homework, right? Next week, maybe the end of this week, I'm about to start sending out some pre-work for you to do. So when you show up on Tuesday, you got all your stuff lined up and ready to go, right? So this is gonna be working sessions where you're gonna be working over these 3 days. And the goal that I promise you, if that you engage and stay locked in over those 3 days, that when the third day is over, you will have a level of life clarity that you will feel confident to say, you know what? This is who I am. This is the direction I'm going. Here is how I feel God, His Spirit is moving and animating all of my gifts and skills and talents and passions and interests and experiences together in order to add value and to make a contribution to those around me and to just live a fulfilled life. Like, I promise you, you're gonna get all that. So listen, thanks for hanging with me tonight. I'll probably jump back on tomorrow because I want to talk about values. If you miss the little brief devotional thought I gave, you can always watch this live or on Facebook. You can hit the rewind button if you're just jumping on, or you can just read Luke chapter 19 yourself and you can see what the Spirit's saying to you. I'm out. Appreciate y'all. See y'all tomorrow.